boys in our clubhouse getting high. Super fuckers. Everybody wishes we would die. Super fuckers. Here we come like a bomb. Everybody fucking run and hide.
Hello, welcome to the Pizza Party RebelTaxi podcast. I'm your pseudo-host Nolan, and I'm joined today by the channel leader, Pan Pizza.
That's me.
Hi.
Do you got like your mic's too close to your face?
I'm going for Funky Con at the airport.
Well, you're not doing.
You know, please don't do this. You don't have to. No.
I am also joined by the one true demon queen from hell, ruler of all
Marceline?
demons, Izzy.
What's up?
You're not Marceline. Make me cream.
And we have our special guest today. Who are you, good sir?
My name's Quinton Reviews. More channel. It's good to be on the podcast.
Thank you for joining us.
No, stop this.
Stop this at
Stop the
one.
madness.
All right, Funky Con left the airport to go pick up Candy Con somewhere else. But
All right.
We're not doing the weird thing with the mics. Shit.
Funky Kong's got to take us to the save point since Donkey Kong Country didn't have any save points.
Funky Kong's too busy being in Smash Brothers.
I'm not into video games at all, so I don't know what you're talking about.
damn it! Fuck.
Wow.
There's
God
before
damn.
we go back onto the previous topic, there's this weird video going around that went around. It's a big meme, and it's Funky Kong picks you up from the airport ASMR, and all it is this guy just like breathing really heavy into his mic and smacking his lips, going, "Hey, how was your flight?"
Please
and
no.
that's all it is, and it's weird and gross, and I hate it. But
Oh, I see.
yeah. So now that we've brought Quinton up to speed on the ASMR video, I'd like to talk about the Nick Hotel video that Defunctland did because.
Oh yeah. Well,
It makes- Go ahead, sir.
no one's watching anymore because I told them to stop watching and go watch Defunctland.
Yes.
So we can
Yes.
do whatever we want from here on out. But
We're
you want
also
to talk
great.
about this?
I was just gonna say, I remember seeing those commercials when I was younger. Like, oh, I want to
Right?
go to the Nick Hotel.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
It's gonna be epic. There's gonna be rides and awesome. It's like Disneyland for Nick. And then I saw that video and it was like, oh no, I dodged a bullet.
Well, I think that's why that video did so well because it's like some alternate timeline nostalgia business where like it was your dream to go. Every kid wanted to go there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it was this vivid dream in our heads that was never a reality, and that video helped us see how subpar that would have been.
Like, to sum it up, it's essentially like a Holiday Inn, but with the price marked up, and you had to pay for pretty much all the cool stuff, like spend $30 for a laser grid room, and you spend $30, and it's like, wow, this is like a size of a kid's bedroom. You went through the laser grid, you're done. You spent $30 for this.
I thought the most interesting part was the fact that they had honeymoon suites, and that you could get married
the
there.
Nick and Night
So I
suites.
can we somehow track down the people who got married and then had their honeymoon at the Nick Hotel, just to see what's
yeah.
that couple up to?
I'm sure they got divorced a week later.
I want to know who was the one that married them. Was it the lobster?
Bring out the dancing lobster.
Please, yes.
Yeah, bring out the dancing lobsters at the reception. But
Oh, that would have been so
Yeah,
good.
Quentin,
You
you're not
may
going to get
kiss-
that. You don't like Amanda's show.
You can kiss the man or whatever. What's the phrase they say at weddings? You may kiss the
Kiss the
bride,
bride.
and then bring out the dancing lobsters.
They've got like a special Patrick Star outfit with like a pastor uniform on and everything.
Well, the
it's
thing
like
is-
muffled.
The thing is, we can imagine someone doing that today because we're all like 25-year-olds that grew up watching that crap, so we're nostalgic about it, right? But at the time, that stuff was brand new. So how weird would you have to be as an adult who didn't even grow up watching Nick
mhm.
to get married at the Nick Hotel and then have your honeymoon there?
Desperation is what I'd like to call it.
It was probably a good deal.
There's a Facebook viral video going around where like this couple did a Pokemon themed wedding where like they have their best people like battle each other dressed as Pokemon or like dance offs or something. Have you guys seen this?
No.
I
No?
thought they actually made the bridesmaids fight or something. That would be
Does
really
sound like a
good.
good experience.
Well, it's like one of those things where it's like super fucking cool because they're really into it, but also like a secondhand embarrassment. Also, like, I couldn't watch it. I got really like, oh no.
Well, excuse them
Yeah,
for having
right.
fun, Izzy.
That's how I always feel about that kind of stuff. I can't. It kind of makes me anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
One
some
thing
of the people who went to that wedding aren't going to talk to this couple anymore.
Now they seem to be really into it.
Yeah, I know.
No, they're all cringe lords. You know.
One thing I wanted to bring up about the Nick Hotel, though, that Kevin put in the podcast and not the main video, which makes me really mad, because this was a really funny tidbit. Like, so he described how the sliming worked at the Nick Hotel. The big water pool was just green dyed water, but there was like a sort of thicker slime at like some of the smaller dunk areas. But you could actually get slimed in two different places. One of them was the Double Dare show, where if you won, you got slimed. Or, and this is my favorite, you could pay $125 to go to a back room and get a bucket of slime dumped on you.
Wow.
That's like the greatest hotel of all time.
Yeah, why did it close?
You come up to the lady at the desk and you just like sneak up on them saying like, "Hey, I want to get a slimed. Can you help me out?" And you just slip them 100.
You're joking, but that's literally what happened.
It's just
I'm scared. That's what freaks me out.
it's just a guy in the back with a gimp mask.
I like how you said it like it was some under the table, technically not legal thing. Like, hey, can I get a slime?
I mean,
They go into the back. They take you with them.
No, they're like, "You're not a cop, are you?" You soon realize like sliming is euphemism for something else.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
But first, this podcast is supported by Alfredo, our Patreon donator of $100. They want to show off their webcomic, Bongo and Luna, links below. It's a slice-of-life comic of a clown ghost girl and a regular ghost girl living in a graveyard full of other monsters, especially monster girls who get into lewd sexual situations. Give Bongo and Luna a try, it's really cute. It has monster girls, please read it. Monster girls, links below.
We now return to the Transformers.
that's another thing. Like, the police were called to the Nick Hotel very often. There were a lot of sad, like really awful reasons, like domestic disputes and etc. But one of the actual like funny reasons was because, well, in hindsight, because nobody got hurt, but this guy walked up and they're like, "Oh, my car got broken into," and the manager at the time was like, "Oh, okay, we'll take down your information and stuff." And they're like, "What's missing?" And he's like, "My gun." And she's like, "What?" So they have, and plus also kids will like dial like 911 to do prank phone calls or something. And there was another time where 20 people were shoved into a 3-bedroom suite. And then the manager was like, "You guys have to leave." And they're like, "But we paid for the room." Just regular hotel malarkey. It sounded like a nightmare to work there. There was
the lady said that she had to like go to like therapy after she was done with it.
Yeah, she said she had to go to therapy. The Nick Hotel made her have to go to therapy. So
Was she an employee or like a customer?
She was the manager. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, is it so bad that it sent customers to therapy?
she was the manager for its final year of operation as the Nick Hotel, which was bad. They also told a story. I don't want to spoil everything on the podcast because she tells it a lot better. But the last thing I'll say is they had a towel shortage one time where there were not enough towels to go to most of the rooms. So they were like, "We have washcloths." Oh man,
yeah.
There's a lot of other stories that I remember, but I don't want to spoil them all. Go watch that podcast. It's hilarious. It's really good.
It's terrible. I'm glad I never went to there.
I don't think there were any in my area, and I'm glad
there was only one,
much.
right?
Yeah, there was only the one in Florida, in Orlando.
Yeah.
This reminds me, I'm going to talk about it in the next video, or the video that comes out a week before this, but like I'm just going to review every single Nickelodeon theatrical movie in a row, essentially.
Oh.
And one of the things was the Rugrats movie, and I remember being 6 years old and like crying and begging my parents to go see the fucking movie. It's like, please, we gotta go see it. It's out now. Did you ever burden your parents like that?
A few movies, yeah.
Yeah.
I really wanted the white Power Ranger from the McDonald's toys. The like when the Power Ranger the movie came out, and every single McDonald's in like the 20-minute radius, because that's how far my mom put effort into things. But like I cried and wanted it, and every single McDonald's didn't have it. Like it just didn't exist in Kentucky.
there was this. We had a problem like that. There was some TV show, I think on Nick or maybe the WB or something, and it was like there were these characters that could swap arms or something, like, and the one of the main characters was this short blue guy. He had like rock arms. Every McDonald's only had that guy. I'm sure people are going to know what I'm talking about. So I had like 10 figures of this blue guy and the point was you're supposed to be able to swap their arms, but I only had one guy 10 times over.
Was it called Galador?
Galador?
I don't know. I really don't.
The power.
Well, that was like a show nobody remembers on, like, I think that was a Lego property.
I just remember one episode, there's a tornado, and the blue guy stops it by making another tornado, and he goes, "You fight fire with fire, you stop a tornado with a tornado." And I just remember that being the stupidest line I'd ever heard. So
it makes sense.
That reminds me of the first episode of Ben 10. Start another forest fire and it'll burn the old one out.
To be fair, 2 fires would potentially, the oxygen would run out. Like that. I think there might be science involved with that.
I'll catch this fire on fire.
Let's test it out. Let's go to California, light another fire over the forest fire that's going on there.
I'm sure someone needs to make a video about what's the origin of fight fire with fire. What could possibly?
Yeah. Funny you mentioned California though, because the big fire things that have been happening in California recently are actually one giant lawn con, which is the funniest fucking thing to me, because I don't remember the exact details, but people living in California were sold these tree seeds, right? And they planted all these seeds around California. What they didn't realize though was that the trees like had a flammable sort of like oil or enzyme or sap or something. So like when the trees grew over 100 years later, like the sun was so hot that it lit the enzymes or oils on fire, and that's why there were so many forest fires in California. It was basically just one giant 100-year-long mistake.
I did read that the forest fires would be good for the environment, just not all the houses in the way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
I like how you just like at what cost is the environment going to?
Whoever sold those seeds, Epic trolled them.
Okay, so apparently the phrase "fight fire with fire" is not it's not encouraging people to fight fire with fire. It's saying that when we fight fire with fire, we're likely to employ extreme methods than we normally do. And I think it's a Shakespearean quote.
Oh, so maybe people
so it's not
interpret
literally
it wrong. Like Schrodinger's cat.
Huh.
Yeah, it's also like curiosity killed the cat, where it's like people just interpreted the wrong thing, even though it means the exact opposite.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's really common because there's a bunch of those where it was like longer, and then as people shorten it, they change the meaning.
Also, cocoa bean paste and what was the name? Naked Pones. Oh my god. Well, they say the trees were Californians bought the trees from Australia in the late 1800s, and they were eucalyptus trees. Thank you guys for that caveat of information. I appreciate it.
This is way more informative than the Pizza Party podcast normally is.
This is my favorite animation news.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm learning so much. Rye Guy 1999 says, "I hope Quinton reviews the other 2 Fairly Odd Parents live action movies." Is that good enough segue for you guys?
Oh, yeah.
I actually did review all 3 of the movies. It's just that the second 2 reviews probably aren't that good.
Oh,
let's introduce who Quinton is. Quinton, who are you?
Who are you, Quinton?
So I have a channel called Quinton Reviews, which eventually became the name that people call me. And on that channel, my goal is to entertain. Over the years, that has meant a variety of different styles, which I find entertaining. But usually I'm discussing media or creating media. Bit of commentary here and there, film reviews, that sort of thing.
For someone who hasn't seen your videos, which video would you recommend them watching?
That's a good question. I'm pretty proud of I did a Ready Player One book review.
I saw that one. That was the first one I saw.
Oh, really? That's good.
Yeah.
You started with the one that I would start with.
Well, Mr. Review, if that's your real name.
Ooh.
You're actually a lot of times whenever I invite guests on the podcast, there are people I find out and then end up watching after the podcast, which is weird. But I actually am aware of your videos. I've seen a few. I think I might actually be subscribed.
Ooh.
Oh wow! That very, very, very nice of you, Izzy.
That's not what
Yeah.
I meant.
Well,
Okay, well,
Wow.
since Izzy has
Izzy
since
seal of
Izzy is a
approval.
Quinton expert, Izzy, what video
I
would
am
you
not a
recommend if
Quinton
Quinton?
expert. I can't. Don't put me on the
This is acting
spot
like
like
she's
this.
giving him a
Did you
job
graduate-
interview or
did-
something.
Yeah, did you graduate with your PhD in Quinton studies, Izzy?
Quintonology.
Quintonology. Oh, Spoe! High five.
High five through internet.
Huh.
No, it's a Wi-Fi if you do it. through the internet.
That's a pretty epic joke.
Who's the guy who wrote Ready Player One? Because he probably want to steal that for the sequel, Ready Player Two.
Oh no, it's going to be Ready Player 1, 2. And then we're going to start calling Ready Player, the first one, we're going to call it Ready Player 1, 1 retroactively. So people are going to be like, did you see Ready? I rewatched Ready Player 1, 1.
It's
Ready
a
Player 1, 2.
it's a reference to the Final Fantasy sequel names.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy
7, 18.
Speaking of which, Final Fantasy 10-2, like X-2. And then like they made a third one and they just ditched the name and they just called it Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns. Does anybody remember those games and how like awful they were? The 13 series.
I was kind of into Final Fantasy when I was into video games. I played a lot of Kingdom Hearts. I'm thinking about doing a Kingdom Hearts video.
You should,
because it's
There's-
such a weird. Why did they make that? You know, it's like they were like, hey, you know Disney, you know the Final Fantasy series. I feel like there's a shared audience there. Let's make a video game series where they're set in the same multiverse.
And it worked somehow.
Yeah.
It's funny though because like the way you pitched it is literally how it happened. Like Square Enix wanted to make a character action game, but they were like, man, but there's nobody as good as like Disney's characters. And the director of the first game, Nomura, heard it, and he was like, hey, I like this idea. Let me in on this. And they were like, okay. And then in Tokyo, Squaresoft, which is now Square Enix, and Disney shared a building. And by fucking chance, one guy from Square and one guy from Disney happened to be in the same elevator. And the Square guy was just like, hey, I want to pitch a game to you. And that's how we got Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm a janitor, but I'll see what I can do.
It's just like the Flamin' Hot Cheetos guy in History Was Made.
Is that what happened with Hot Cheetos?
Is that what happened with Hot Cheetos?
I think
like one guy was in the hot foods department, one guy was in the Cheetos department, and they were like, hey man, let me hit you up with this idea.
No, it was a janitor who made the flavoring. I think they're making a movie about it.
Oh, I
how
see.
the Flamin' Hot Cheetos were invented. That's gonna be a movie.
Okay, so speaking of hot foods,
Yeah.
I recently this week had chicken and waffles for the first time, and the waitress like brought out syrup and hot sauce and then mixed it in front of me as a dipping thing for both the chicken and the waffles. And surprisingly, spicy syrup is really good.
Oh, I want it.
I was
I
at a
know.
smoothie place, and I almost got like a
wretched.
hot smoothie.
Ooh.
And I that would have been bad, I think, right?
Maybe I don't know. There's a Hispanic ice cream shop near me that like has hot ice cream, and I'm kind of scared.
Oh man, Hispanic people know how to know their way around spicy foods really, really well. They
Well,
make
what if
the
they don't
best
know
spicy
ice
food.
cream? That's the problem.
But they make fried ice cream.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You guys need to see like our raspas and stuff. Like we have basically a cup full of like a snow cone full of chamoy, spicy stuff, like a stick that's covered in chamoy, and just all this garbage, corn nuts in there, maybe a pickle. That's what you get from like a Hispanic snow cone place. We call these raspas.
That sounds like a college dude got super high and was like, "Oh my god, you guys, check this shit out."
I mean,
And then he invented
all college
Rasta.
dudes love Taco Bell and tacos, you know, and Mexican food.
All I wanted was a steak, a queso, mozzarella. I remember in California, I think they had like a Flamin' Hot Cheetos pizza.
What?
Yeah, they had like
yeah.
they crush up Cheetos into dust, put it all over the pizza, then they bake it, and then they put regular hot Cheetos on top. And I'm just thinking, I want that. I want to go there.
Yeah.
Oh man, Taco Bell has those nacho fries, and I don't know what I was expecting, but I was not expecting like fries and nacho powder and cheese dip.
Exactly.
Like I don't know what I was expecting, but I was really disappointed to find out they're just regular fries.
Yeah, I
Oh.
thought they would be like tortillas, like cut like strip style.
Yeah, that's kind of like I mean, like in retrospect,
Like-
that's really stupid, but like that's kind of what I wanted.
I was
Yeah,
excited
'cause-
by the news that you could replace food items with the fries. So if you didn't want like onions in your burrito, you could replace them with fries. But I don't. I've been eating better, so I haven't even gone to Taco Bell really that often since they added the fries.
I'm more of a Chipotle guy myself.
Oh, same. Well,
Yeah,
okay.
same.
That's not even like a fair comparison because it's like dog food and actual food.
What?
Actually, it's funny you mentioned dog food because the closest thing Taco Bell has ever made to dog food was the Bell Beefer. You guys know what that is?
No.
No.
It's finally my time to show off my obscure fast food knowledge. My time has finally come.
Nolan's
So the Bell-
Sharingan is activated.
My Mangekyo Sharingan is active, but it's basically a sloppy Joe made out of a Taco Bell taco.
What?
They
Oh,
had
that kind of sounds good.
no, it's the beef and then all of the toppings that go in a taco on a bun. So it's a sloppy Joe Taco Bell.
You see, I'm imagining
that's
Mr.
sick.
Krabs, and he pulls out like a Taco Bell burrito, and then he turns around, and then after 3 seconds he turns back around and he has a pizza or something. That's what I'm imagining when you're telling me about changing up these ingredients in this revolutionary way.
Sloppy Joe's was the worst thing my school ever had to offer.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if that's the worst thing either, because like McDonald's, I think it was McDonald's once had like onion nuggets, deep fried onion, like chunks of
That
onion.
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
onion
not-
rings.
Yeah, no, but they're like thick, like chunks of onion.
I know. That sounds amazing.
Well,
But
do you
if
guys
it's
know
fried,
the
it must be good.
Do you guys know the origin of the fish sandwich McDonald's has?
I think
Uh,
I think I know where you're going with this, but continue.
Well, you might be interested in the other option they wanted to go with, but basically, some guy owned a McDonald's in a very Catholic area, and his food wasn't selling well, especially not on is it Fridays?
Black Friday, yeah,
Yeah,
where you
but
can't
just
eat meat.
I think in that era, maybe every Friday you couldn't eat meat. So like Fridays, he would make like $100 a day, and he said, "I need to make a food stuff that I can sell to people, to people who aren't who are religious on this day." So he came up with this fish sandwich, tried to sell it to McDonald's, and he came up with this deal where basically he would sell this McDonald's sandwich at his location, and then another McDonald's restaurant would sell a different test Catholic Friday sandwich. Whichever sold more would end up on the menu forever. And and his fish sandwich sold really well, and the other one sold like 10 patties. And do you want to know what the other one was?
I know what it is, but go ahead and say it.
It was a chunk. It was a cut of pineapple that
Yes!
you get out of a can with a piece of cheese on a bun.
Yes!
What?
Yes! Oh god,
What?
I love you, Quinton. You're my new best friend.
As someone that
Cursed
loves
sandwich I've ever
pineapple,
heard.
Yeah, I
The pineapple sandwich, everybody. Go to your local McDonald's.
Why?
pineapple.
Why did Rick and Morty bring back the Szechuan sauce? Why didn't they bring back the pineapple patty?
Yeah, I want
Oh,
people
God.
rioting at McDonald's for pineapple patties.
That's still not their worst burger though, or their worst sandwich. Two of them I can think of also are the McAfrica, which was like this is really funny because it was like a burger on a pita, which is like a really flat piece of bread.
Ooh.
But the problem was they released it during a time a huge African famine swept all over the continent. So oops.
That's unfortunate.
Oh.
Oops, indeed.
Yeah, and then the other one was the McLobster, which is a hot dog bun, or like a hoagie bun, I guess. And they just plop this tossed, cut up lobster into the bun, and it looks like somebody threw up in it. And it looks disgusting.
Oh.
So awful.
Well,
Wasn't
I think most fast food burgers. What I like to do is if I'm in the mood for a fast food burger, I Google the burger and then I add the word review, because the pictures that they get posted of those burgers in reviews never look good, because the person's
Yeah.
always like lifting it up from the center up, and you can just looks like someone sat on it, and then
Mhm.
you're not in the mood for it anymore because you're like, oh, that's what it looks like. I remember now.
So going back to your story about like how they decided between the fish fillet and the pineapple burger,
The hula burger.
the hula burger. I love that how you phrased it, because it's like they together, whichever one won best will be on the menu forever. That's such like a 10-year-old like thing. Like that's a bet.
Yeah.
No, but that's like how fast food. That's how fast foods run. Like the place I work at, like
They run like the kids next door. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm quitting there soon, so I don't give
Well,
it.
I worked at Little Caesars, and we definitely did like stupid test things.
Yeah, no, testing is totally normal. Like,
Yeah.
what did you like? What's some Little Caesar stuff you tested that never went through?
I just remember 2 things we tested, and I think they became mainstream nationwide menu items.
Mhm.
But we tested loaded bites. Did you guys have those?
I don't think so.
Sounds
Oh
good.
god, they were kind of disgusting, but they were Little Caesars, so it's
Oh.
what you'd expect. It was like, you know, their crazy bread at Little Caesars.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if they cut those into like pizza bite sized bits of bread. So like,
Mhm.
you know, imagine like a pizza bite sized Little Caesars crazy bread, and you get like 20 of those. They put them in like this container, and then they put sort of like nacho. It was like string cheese on top of that, and then like bacon on top of that, and then you could buy that. And
that sounds disgusting.
yeah, it was pretty gross, but it was like, you know, they never sold it, so we ate them all the time. And then we tested something called a smokehouse pizza, which was delicious, but hugely inconvenient for us to make.
Is that like steak?
It was like barbecue sauce. Then you had like it was like a bunch of smokehouse meat that we had to keep and like completely separate from all the rest of the food. And we couldn't and it was a different kind of barbecue sauce than the rest of the barbecue sauce we had.
Yeah.
And we couldn't take things off the pizza, I think. We could only put things on. So you couldn't call and be like, hey, I need you to take off all the meat and still sell that to me. You couldn't do that.
Mhm.
And it was delicious, but I could understand why they wouldn't do it because it was impossible to keep, like, we had to have like one an hour, you know?
Smokehouse. So yeah, whenever they do smokehouse, like it's usually a pain in the ass because it is prepared differently from everything else. But I have to answer this because this cham is spamming me with it. I did not get the Fortnite burger.
Whoa, Chief, there's no fire here. Just flaming hot Cheetos. Here, try one. If you can handle it. Flaming hot Cheetos. Deliciously hot, dangerously cheesy.
I have to answer this because this cham is spamming me with it. I did not get the Fortnite burger. I'm very upset I did not get the Fortnite burger.
You did the dance.
I did the
Explain.
I was there
Nolan.
recording it, and it was awful.
So after Spoe got off work, I told him he had to come over. I didn't tell him why. He comes over and he's like, "Okay, Nolan, what's up?" He's still in his uniform. I'm like, "We're going to McDonald's and ordering the Fortnite burger."
Why
And he's I'll explain, Quinton. Don't worry. This is important. So Spoe is just like, "I don't want to do this," and I'm like, "You have to do this." And he was like, "Okay, fine." So we drive down, like, work our way around the construction that's going around our main street, and get into McDonald's. And I hatch up a plan. And I'm like, "All right, so there's this meme going around that on August 6th, if you go in and order the Fortnite burger, the look on the workers' faces will be awesome." This was a meme, so it has to be true. So I send Spoe in. I stay outside for a couple minutes, just like making it look natural, like I didn't come in with him. It's part of the grand scheme. And I figured I'd just go up to the front counter and they'd take my order, but unfortunately, they had self kiosks. My plan was already in disarray, and I had to scratch up a new plan altogether.
You had to think quick.
I had to think quick and I had to think fast, otherwise the whole plan would be compromised. So the lady, this very, very adorable lady, comes up to me and goes, "Can I help you?" And then I'm like, I must do it now or I will never be able to again. So I go, "Yes, I hear you have a special promotion today." And I'm trying to think of how to segue into this. And she's like, "What kind of promotion, sir, was it?" And I'm thinking like, oh, I think it was then I bust out the default dance from Fortnite.
Just right in front of her. There was no expression
Why?
change on her face.
Yeah, and then I ask for the Fortnite burger, and then she tells me to leave.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's what she told you?
You see, I would have just blankly told you, "Oh yeah, we have that." It would have gone to the back. come back out with a bit of pineapple and some cheese. Hand that over.
That would be great.
She just told you to leave?
Yeah, they told me to leave.
That sounds about right.
Rude.
But yeah, it's gone viral a bit, like somewhat viral on Twitter. It got re-uploaded to meme pages on Instagram. So
Links below.
I'm a celebrity, so I'm too good for all of you, unfortunately.
Oh,
this is my last pizza party. I signed a deal with Harvey Weinstein for a new movie, so I think I'm gonna have a future ahead of me.
It's like that episode of Johnny Test.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe you'll cameo on iCarly.
I thought I was going too far with the Harvey Weinstein joke, and you had to pull out Johnny Test and ruin everything. Way to go, Spoe.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just exit the stream now.
It's over.
Get in your car and drive off. Get in a plane, just fly
No one ever
back.
sees you again.
Go back home to Iowa. There's nothing there for you. But
no, I just want to say I appreciate you.
I know. I appreciate myself too.
Someone does.
Mandiuk Streamer 23 says Nolan and his cynical fucking ass. You not wrong though. So yeah. What?
You say what you were gonna say.
I was gonna say I forgot what I was gonna say because I went on the Mick Fortnite Burger.
Oh, we were talking about like restaurant chains that test. There's an infamous one in Canada where for a while they tested the McDonald's pizza.
Oh yeah.
That was all over, and then like it didn't work out.
I've heard. How bad is that thing?
Well, I heard it was all right, and I've heard people say that there's nothing else like a McDonald's pizza. But of course, the reason that doesn't make sense is that McDonald's is fast food, and it's you can't like. How would that work with a drive-through system? It takes like what 10 minutes to cook a pizza.
Little Caesars have drive-throughs though.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen.
Yeah, but you park out front if it's not hot and ready.
Yeah. I will say though, I think another reason was because they had to order specialty made pizza ovens, which are expensive.
Oh yeah.
And would take a lot of upkeep. So like if the pizzas aren't selling super great, because it's like you could get a McDonald's pizza, which probably tastes whatever, or you could just go to a pizza restaurant down the street that'll probably taste better anyway. So
I mean, the solution wouldn't it be just like the pizza you can order online exclusively? You can only call it in, versus you can't do it drive-through traditionally.
I think this was before they had online ordering. Wasn't online ordering like super late 90s?
This was late 90s this was like mid to late 90s. They were testing this pizza.
And Pizza Hut didn't start doing online ordering until like that time or the early 2000s, and it didn't work good because it was dial-up.
So what kind of weird?
No.
Did the restaurant you work at ever do some sort of bizarre test?
I'm not going to say what place I work at, but people will figure it out anyway, and I'm only working there for another couple weeks, so I don't care if you figure it out. But I work at a chicken place, and we introduced these family-styled meals where you could stack, like you could pick an entree and then a side and then other stuff. It came with like biscuits or whatever, and they came with cute little talking point cards. Like they had a box where you could all put your cell phones in and shut it. And then you pull out the talking cards so you could bond together as a family. And some of the interesting talking points were like, what would you do if you were an animal for a day? what animal would you want to be? It's like those it's like table topics but made by Christian people. So,
Yeah.
There's a lot of animal ones.
Well, answer the question, Nolan.
But we introduced mac and cheese and bacon baked beans at the same time, and I'm pretty sure you guys guess which one made it through. So, the baked beans were trash and were nixed immediately, and we also got rid of our famous coleslaw, which was surprising because everybody loves coleslaw here in the South.
And we replaced some coleslaw.
Yeah, and they replaced and they like gave the recipe out. They were like, here it is, like it's our coleslaw recipe, everybody. And they replaced it with a superfood side salad. It's just like,
what?
Okay, it's like it was like kale with a maple syrup like toss in with dried sour cherries.
Doesn't that defeat the purpose of eating kale, to get maple syrup on top of it?
It was like a maple flavored like dressing or something. It wasn't syrup exactly.
Kale is a superfood, okay?
That's why it's called a superfood side.
I gotcha. But syrup isn't a superfood. It
Quit
seems like
to
they would
get
be
out.
arch Okay,
It's like
bye.
kryptonite. It's like kryptonite.
Syrup's like negative kale.
Yeah.
They should have called it the anti-food. What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? They surrender. That's what the superfood side is.
Find out, and you can have it in your stomach.
I love the fact that this is an animation podcast, but the conversation we're having, it fits our title so much better.
Yeah.
Pizza party. That's so true.
I mean, people are here for us.
I
so-
did watch this podcast for a while.
What made you stop, Quinton?
Oh, okay. There is a bit of a funny story. Okay,
It's
so I
me, it's
started
okay.
watching. You guys had I Hate Everything on, and I thought it was a good podcast, so I was listening to them off and on from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then one time you had Bedhead Bernie on, who I'm friends with. You guys were mean to him, and I didn't know if it was real or not. I didn't know if you guys actually hated him, so I stopped watching.
Oh.
Bernie's one of my best friends. We shit on each other all the time.
Okay. Yeah, I figured that out eventually, but by
Yeah.
then it's too late.
When you got a PM from me on Twitter, you're like, "Oh, it's this fucker, isn't it?"
Well, by then I
Nolan.
figured out you guys were just friends. The problem is I don't listen to a lot of podcasts because everyone had a podcast suddenly. After Baited, suddenly every YouTuber had a podcast, and then you didn't have time for all those podcasts. So I really don't listen to them at all anymore.
Yeah, it's. I remember seeing a post that was like, we should start a podcast as the new. We should start a band.
Oh,
And I'm
shit,
like-
that's right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's an accurate assessment. I actually did start a podcast of my own on Nintendo's channel about the new Sonic movie, and we're just like, it's a short run. We're not gonna make it a thing. We're just gonna talk about the Sonic movie, shoot the shit, etc. But if y'all are gonna watch some podcasts, y'all should listen to true crime shit. That's the good stuff.
The one podcast I still listen to from time to time is Jar Media, which is the most bizarre
That's
shit posting.
Alex's, right?
Yeah, that's I Hate Everything and a bunch of his. I think they're like high school friends. And I just really love that part of the podcast.
I wish we could have him back on. I don't know if he liked his time on here.
I'm sure he was fine.
I remember we took the piss out of him because we tricked him into thinking we had a day where we cleaned up dust bunnies, and he was confused as to what they were. He thought they were
I do remember that.
Yeah, he thought they were actual animals.
What a dust
and
bunnies.
yeah,
What are
we just
those?
ran with it. It just
It's like a weasel stomping day. We just get rid of them.
yeah, exactly. It was really funny.
I'm still surprised that we managed to get Your Movie Sucks twice on here.
Dude, yeah, Adam's chill. It was great.
I actually just recently, this week, started watching him. Go ahead.
People want us to also get Ralph. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Quentin.
No, you go on. I was saying I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, people really want us to get Ralph Seppi on. I've asked him. He hasn't responded. If anybody has something like a PO box or an email or his address, his personal address, where I can fly over, just knock on his door and say, "Why haven't you answered my fucking PMs yet, you son of a bitch?" And then he's like, "Well, dude, who are you?" And then I stormed into his house and I get really up close and personal
ripping
with
down
him.
the
And
wallpaper.
I start shoving him. What are you doing?
Take all
What
his
are you
posters off the wall, walk out the door, and be like, "This is a warning."
And I'm like, "This is my house now, you fucking piece of shit." And he's like, "Oh my god, please, I'm gonna call the police." And he's like crying and really confused as to why this big hulking fat 23-year-old man is in his house.
Well, I'm sure
screaming at him.
I'm sure he's gonna be on now after he's heard you say all that.
I was gonna say this is gonna get him on for sure, threatening him and to break into his home.
Listen, all I'm saying is, Ralph Seppi, if you want to avoid having your house broken into and being shoved by an angry, obese 23-year-old man who is borderline skin-headed, just come on Pizza Party and don't worry about it. It's fine.
I mean, skinheaded
It's
is
fine.
as in you're losing your hair, right? Not that you're a part of the alt-right, surely.
Heil.
Jokes.
Righty then.
It's springtime for Hitler.
Do you ever notice Ralph the Movie Maker looks like Reggie Fils-Aimé?
From another timeline.
So, oh, did you?
That's
Go
it.
on.
That's all the time I got. I have to go watch Nicolas Cage on my Nintendo 3DS.
Oh, sweet.
Did you guys did you guys want to talk about the Timmy Turner movies with me? Because that's one of my someone
no.
transitioned to that, but then they didn't talk about it.
Oh shit. Yeah, we can talk about that. I hated them.
No, they're insufferable. I actually liked the second one a little. I thought it was cute, but the first one is terrible, and the third one is just insulting to everything.
I remember watching an interview with Butch Hartman, and I think he said he just made the third one just so he can go on vacation.
Really?
So that doesn't
like what
make
Adam
sense.
Sandler does.
Yeah, it's like a money laundering scheme that didn't work because it made no money.
That's hilarious. Butch Hartman is a controversial figure, of course, as of recent.
Yeah, for good reason.
I mean, what do you mean? As in he's rightfully controversial? Are you saying like, yeah, Butch Hartman?
Right,
You need to fuck him up.
rightfully controversial in that he has made a lot of stupid decisions, and
He's made a
kind
lot
of
of stupid decisions. Did you see his apology on Twitter?
And it had like and his stationery had like a secret message in
A
it.
secret message that said like, your only true friends are the ones that always stand beside you.
That's not a secret message. I think that's just the what do you call those the stationery?
How coincidental that the stationery had that.
How
Yeah.
coincidental, indeed.
Coincidental. But the Timmy Turner movies I thought were painfully insulting for the most part.
I couldn't
guy
finish
that-
the first one at
The
all.
guy that played Crocker, I thought did a really great job, but he'll probably
agree with
never
that.
get work again.
I know that the voice actor for Cosmo was just Timmy's dad. Like he just hopped in there and he's like, "Yeah, I'm Timmy's dad now." Did the same voice and everything.
He was always the voice of Timmy's dad, and he played Timmy's dad. And
Yeah, I know. I was just saying it was weird that they just like it was just bizarre. The
it
whole
was
movie
surreal
is,
to watch, and it would be like, I'm Timmy's dad. It was just strange seeing the voice come out of his mouth, you know?
yeah. I think that's the only thing worth like watching those movies for is just how surreal they are. They feel very, very weird.
Well, remember when they announced before saying that like the actual voice actors are going to voice the cartoon versions of the Fairly Odd Parents? They announced Jason, what's his name? Is it
Alexander?
Yeah, and then another woman I can't remember. But they announced them as the actors, so a lot of people thought that's who the live action versions were, and that's kind of right. But it's like for one scene.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's very strange as well. The guy from Seinfeld is playing Cosmo, and why? You know, what else can you say except why? Why is that the case?
I mean, Jason Alexander doesn't have much work to do. He can't go back to voicing the gargoyle Hugo from Hunchback after his pokey comment. So.
Oh, and the main villain of the first Timmy Turner movie is this Donald Trump parody. For some reason, they made it's like a celebration of the entire Fairly Odd Parents show, and they were like, let's invent a new character, and he's like a Donald Trump parody. Yeah.
Which is kind of weird because Butch Hartman is very, very much a Republican, so that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I guess that just goes to show how he just kind of let the show do its own thing and he did not care.
I heard on a stream he said that like all of his cartoon episodes were educational and they all had a biblical message behind them.
Christ is evident in his work.
And I was like, and I literally think
Christian than
wasn't the joke of the Fairly Odd Parents was that half the time like it was anti expected moral. Like
sometimes
Timmy goes back out of that way, like the episode where Timmy goes out of his way to save that old village, and Timmy's dad just sells it, and he goes, "My childhood has no meaning, son." And it's just like that was the moral. What does that have to do with the Bible?
Good question.
Probably just said that. I mean, without thinking
I think
about
it has just as much to do with the Bible as much as Cosmo getting pregnant does.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I love about that episode? It's that later it's retconned that Cosmo was the last fairy child ever, and then later when they introduce the female equivalent to Timmy, who also shares the godparents, when they introduce her, they say that there's a fairy shortage, and it's like, well, maybe if you didn't ban reproduction, that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the show abandons its own eternal logic several times, both for bad comedy.
Introduces these guest side characters, but they bear so little on the writing of the show that then they disappear and you don't even notice.
Yeah, remember
Yeah, because the
Sparky?
dog.
The dog
Yeah.
and the baby disappear, and it took me like 2 watches to realize that.
Poof is gone.
What happened to them?
Poof was gone at the start of the season where they introduced Chloe, and I was trying to wrap my head around. But Foop was in the show, right?
What happened to them? Did they die?
So
So
I
they
don't know
get
what's
rid-
happening there.
So they get rid of their child and they never mention it.
That's what I was getting. I think maybe Foop. I think maybe Poof shows up for like 2 episodes that season,
Wow.
and then the dog does not.
Yeah.
But
I
like
can't-
they
Did the
don't
dog
have
die?
Poof. They don't have Poof, but they still include Foop
Foop, yes.
in
Foop
those
is-
episodes. Like it's not like the Poof doesn't just randomly appear those episodes. Like
Yeah, and it's not like it's set before Poof.
right.
I was upset that we didn't get a 4th live action movie with adult Chloe.
Oh my god, I hate it. I hate it.
Oh,
Oh, look, people are always mad about this show, and I'm just like, I stopped watching. Why are y'all still mad? You know, who cares about these new characters?
yeah, that's
I ain't
totally fair.
watching.
That's how I am half the time. It's
Well, I
like
think
when
I-
people still,
like,
it's
I
like
think
when
back
people
to,
still
like-
trying to talk to me about The Last Jedi 8 months after it came out. Like, no, go watch
Oh
a
my
different
God.
movie.
Okay, so in the Relateds, I saw a video that was titled "The Phantom Menace: What Went Wrong." It's like it's fucking 2018. Fucking Red Letter Media already did it. You don't need to make another
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
Phantom Menace video. Some random person. No,
We don't need any more
Shut
prequel
up.
reviews ever. It's done.
You know what I'm waiting for is someone to just make like, what killed the Rugrats? Dill pickles.
Jill Pickles is the Scrappy Doo.
Man, you ruined Saber's video.
Are we,
Oh shit!
Oh, no.
do you guys talk about Rugrats a lot? Or do you want to
Which
talk about
one ruined
Rugrats?
it? Was it Dill Pickle or was it Kimmy?
I thought
Kimmy,
Kim,
because-
as a child, I thought Kimmy was way more bizarre than.
Kimmy, because she's not white.
If you pick Kimmy, you're a racist.
Okay, wow.
I never
Oh, let's
understood
step
Dill
back a
because
bit,
like
darling.
because why
Springtime
can
for Hitler. Springtime for Hitler.
I can't believe no one was proven racist twice.
Again.
I don't know, Stu.
What?
First, the kids star in their own movie. Now they're doing commercials. According to Dr. Lipschitz, if children experience fame too soon, it can go to their heads.
Come on, what's the worst that could happen?
Mr. DeVille, I'm ready for my close-up
New Mercury Villager, now more room and more power. Preferred by grown-ups.
and babies.
Now get $1,000 cash back on a new Mercury Villager.
I still don't understand
Guys,
why
have you seen the Rugrats movie recently? The first one?
Spoe is talking.
Spoe is talking.
I was just saying like why can Dill not talk but the other babies can?
That bothered me so much. Do you know what I sometimes like to do just once a year? This is pretty sadistic. I watch that. I go to YouTube and I watch that scene from the Rugrats movie, which like Tommy is stuck in like the forest in like a
Oh.
torrential downpour in this jungle with Dill. They're both babies, and Dill has done something like drink all their milk, and that's what they need to survive. So Tommy decides he's gonna murder his brother. He's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
murder his brother. So he gets out this banana paste, that baby food that the monkeys want.
Yeah.
And he goes over to his brother and he drags him out into the mud and the rain, and like a Greek god, he opens this container and pours it over while with one hand he grasps his brother in a fist, and the other hand he lifts it up like some Renaissance painting as he looks down on the total fear in Dill's eyes. And then I close the video because in my head he kills his brother.
Now that's Christ being evident in your work.
Okay, so like if you go back and watch that movie, the whole thing happens because Stu spends months to work on a project that's going to net him $500.
Yeah.
Which is nothing. I don't care if it's in the 90s. That's not enough for like rent.
Anytime you have a show that's about nothing and they make it about something, it totally it does weird stuff to the universe. Because now, literally, like these people are just bad parents. Okay.
Yeah,
Like,
They are. You're not wrong. You're not incorrect with that assertion.
How do these babies get abandoned to the extent that they run into different shows? You know, like these
they
babies
get kidnapped.
No, like they end up in the wild thornberries in the second movie.
Oh,
Like, how bad are you at raising your kids? They end
Was
up
that
in
the second one or third one? Because I thought
That's
the
the
second one
third.
was in Paris.
Oh yeah, you're right. Second one's in Paris. Maybe. I remember I definitely was super excited to see the Rugrats meets the Wild Thornberries. Do you remember they
Bruce
had?
Willis?
Yeah. Do you remember they had that Burger King thing, or if you got a Burger King, if you went to Burger King, instead of getting a toy, or maybe additionally to a toy, you would get this smell sheet, and it had little circles. And throughout the movie, different colors would pop up. It would be like a green circle would pop up at the bottom of the screen. So you would scratch your Burger King sheet, and you would smell it. Totally immersive experience. So while you'd watch, I didn't have one, but while I was watching the movie, green dot would pop up throughout the theater. You just heard, ugh.
I think I still have one of those.
Smell-o-vision.
I wonder if they're sold on eBay.
They probably are.
If they still smell, that'd be terrible.
Okay, like honestly, people talk about like, oh, what rude Rugrats like in this call, like the rhetorical thing, but like for me, when they're talking about like the potty training episode, like what to do instead of like actually using the fucking thing, and like talking about ways how to get rid of shit, and I'm like, stop, no.
Yeah, my parents also hated Rugrats and didn't want me watching it. So, and then as an adult, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. It's not a good show.
I never watched
Rugrats is disgusting. It's like, why would I want to watch a show about babies? Babies are
babies are
only.
I was looking up like.
And before anyone says,
trying to talk, Nolan, it's his podcast.
And
Allow him.
Oh, sorry.
God,
Go ahead,
I was looking up internet forums from like the 2001, and they were talking about Invader Zim's cancellation, and everyone's just like, God, I guess Nickelodeon would rather air fucking Rugrats again. Fuck Rugrats. Like, there was a lot of hatred for that show back then.
Rugrats was the Teen Titans Go of its day.
Well, I guess so, because they were like complaining that it would get spin-offs. Well, this was back when they were announcing like a Susie Carmichael spin-off, which never happened, and All Grown Up.
Yeah.
No, there was a spinoff that happened there, but it was with Angelica too, and it was called Preschool Days.
Yeah, that lasted for like 3 episodes.
I actually really liked All Grown Up as a kid. I
did
haven't went
too.
back.
But
because it wasn't about.
It was fine.
It wasn't about babies.
Yeah, it wasn't about fucking babies.
Yeah.
Before anyone thinks my parents were like prudish or just some religious people, they didn't like any kid shows. My dad actually loved SpongeBob. Because SpongeBob is the perfect kid show because kids love it, right? But it's very much, at least the first 3.5 seasons, it's very much also adult humor oriented. There's jokes that kids just wouldn't get. And not adult humor stuff, just like a dumb joke where they meet Neptune and they go to the Poseidon. The Poseidon. Like a kid wouldn't get that. But
I don't get it either.
Poseidon?
That's not funny.
God of the sea. Fuck off. I hate you, Pan.
That was just one of the perfect shows for kids. But Rugrats. So the discussion we wanted was who ruined the show more, Dill or Kimmy. And I think I don't have an answer because I don't remember that many episodes that featured Kimmy, and Dill didn't add anything to the show at all. He didn't talk.
Dill
is the equivalent of Poof, because he's the new baby that doesn't talk, and he doesn't really add anything to the scripts.
They're also both voiced by Tara Strong.
Well, the thing is, like, Dill was supposed to be like a way to give Tommy more responsibilities, but at the same time, he was just there for dookie jokes too.
Yeah.
People seem to think like adding babies onto the show is really good because it's like, oh, they can be cute and they can also do poopy humor at the same time. It's perfect.
Did you guys ever see the storyboard that the people working on Rugrats did that was really messed up?
The storyboard jam?
I think that's a great representation. If the show's hard to watch, imagine having to work on it.
I have not seen this. Can someone link me later?
Oh, Izzy, I have a treat for you.
Okay.
This isn't something we can put on Twitch.
Okay.
I'm not putting it on Twitch. I'm just putting it on the recording chat in Discord.
Do you want to watch it now? Do you want my live reaction?
No, it's not like a video. It's just a couple pages of storyboard.
Okay. So like the thing about I really love the PS1 Rugrats game as a kid. It was really, really good. I love exploring the islands, exploring the house. A lot of, it had iconic episode stuff. And I loved it so much. I was super stoked about the Rugrats in Paris video game because it's a sequel, more Rugrats. And then it turned out to be like this really shitty, ugly, like mini game
collection.
Oh, it was so disappointing.
Wasn't it had isometric overworld and then you go to different games?
Ooh.
Wasn't that how it worked?
No, because you walked around and explored like in the original game during the theme park, but you couldn't do anything. Like there was no actions. And so you would go to a amusement park thing and then it would switch to a mini game and it was not fun. It was so disappointing.
I was watching the Oni cartoons. I think that's what they're called. Their playthrough of the Rugrats game, and that's incredible to me. I love how Dill will be like, "Well, kids, babies, this is the golf course. Have fun," and then he just walks off. And then that's the plot of the game. Oh, it's Stu. Sorry, not Dill.
I'm not Stu.
These are just bad parents. All right, that's what I'm trying to get at. They're bad parents.
I mean,
look,
you're not wrong.
But have you seen the movie recently, the first movie?
No, I haven't. I do. I remember the piss song where all the babies are pissing.
Yeah.
It's
like if you go back and watch the first movie again, it is a miserable, melancholy film. Like nobody is happy. The color scheme is just so dank. I don't know how to describe it. It honestly feels like a Zack Snyder movie.
Oh isn't there a joke in the movie where Grandpa is the reason that Pearl Harbor happened?
Yeah.
He said, and they go, you left the kids with Grandpa. That man slept through Pearl Harbor, and he goes, well, I sounded the alarm as soon as I got up.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's a new movie we have to commentate over. But wasn't the scene where Dill is born, like, wasn't that weird as fuck? What happened?
Oh yeah, like Dee Dee sees like a fucking vision, like going through like time and space, and plop goes the baby. You know,
it's like a Jimmy Neutron brain blast.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think of?
Except instead of a brain, it was her uterus.
Ooh, ew.
Oh.
But yeah, Quinton, what were you saying?
So what's your verdict on All Grown Up? Because I don't like All Grown Up. I think at least Rugrats could be character filled. You know, like. I think All Grown Up had more to do, but didn't achieve much.
Yeah,
it was a very forgettable show.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really like any classic Supo stuff. I didn't like the art style.
Oh, the art style is terrible. I don't know why people are nostalgic for it. It's all disgusting.
Yeah, the 90s was a weird time.
Well, that was the point, is that like that particular art style, it always had the opposite. Like big eyes are warm and inviting. That's the Disney thing. Instead, everyone had these small little beady eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they all look like rat people.
Like early Garfield comics.
Yeah.
In All Grown Up, I think the most fascinating thing about it is that since Dill literally had no personality, because
they just made him obsessed with aliens, right?
Right. They had to come up with something, and I thought I can't remember it enough. Like I haven't went back to watch it. Literally, the only episode I remember is that Tommy was scared of rivers or something, and Phil and Lil had an episode where they decided to like be opposite people, where like she dresses more feminine and such, and that might have left an imprint on me in some form, but that's all I can remember.
Well, Dill's thing is that he didn't say anything in the early Rugrats, so he had no character. So for All Grown Up, they just made him like a conspiracy theorist weirdo, and there's actual dialogue about him getting dropped on his head when he was a baby.
Yeah.
Canon.
That would explain his head shape.
That would explain why he doesn't talk in the fucking Rugrats movie or the episodes after that.
This is just depressing. I'm sad now.
This show sucked. Fuck Rugrats.
At one point, they made it that Chucky just knew how to talk, and none of the other babies could talk. And I remember as a kid being confused.
He was 2 years old. That's why
he was. I was confused as to what was the logic over like how was I supposed to be able to tell like when Chucky was actually talking.
There was like a weird baby language that I guess adults just forget.
Yeah, baby geniuses.
Like baby geniuses. I do strongly remember his first word is no.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want his dad to get married to this gold digger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our bitch.
She owned a theme park. How could you resist?
Wouldn't you love to find out? I would love for them to retcon in the new episodes that she was actually really nice and Chucky just didn't like her, and that's so the whole movie is how he perceives her.
Oh, is this Cobra Kai?
Oh my God. This is some deep shit. Why is Rugrats provoking such a deep like analysis from us?
It was the original SpongeBob.
Why does Stu immediately end up marrying just a different woman who's also in the movie? So he's like, oh,
Wait,
I
what?
guess it was bad that I tried to jump into that relationship, and then he sees that woman.
No, it's Chaz, Chucky's dad. Stu is
Chaz.
Tommy's dad.
Get the names right, asshole! You're not a '90s kid.
God damn it! I'm sorry. I don't like these shows, so I don't. But Chaz is like, oh, I guess it was bad that I tried to marry that woman when I barely knew her, and then he like pulls a different woman who is also in the movie, and he marries her.
Yeah. Kimmy's mommy.
Kimmy's mom.
Her mommy. Sorry, does that word make everybody uncomfortable?
Yes.
I remember there was a whole episode about Kimmy trying to get to the roots of her Japanese ancestry and all grown up.
And it was really kind of low-key racist.
And Chucky was upset that he wasn't being included in her family tree. And that was the plot of the episode, is that Chucky was just like, I don't like how she's cutting us out.
Chucky, you're a dumbass.
That's like peak white privilege.
Chucky commits cultural appropriation.
Chucky commits a cultural appropriation. That sounds like it always. That's what they should do for the Rugrats reboot. It's Always Sunny in Rugrats.
I would watch
them
that hell out of
adults and
that.
It's just Always Sunny.
I mean,
yeah.
There was that one storyboard artist who saw all the fan art of people drawing the Rugrats as adult hipsters and stuff, and he just came out and said, "No, I'm tired of you people drawing this stuff. If the Rugrats did grow up to be adults, they would be mess ups. Look at these. This is how you should draw them."
And he draws them, and Chucky looks just like Stu, or not Chucky. The main character Tommy looks just like Stu. It'd be messed up if Chucky looked just like Stu. You'd have some questions.
Like the image of Tommy as an adult, somebody posted saying that this is the face of a man who pays for a porn subscription.
One of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to people drawing adult versions of cartoon characters, for whatever reason, it's always anime style. And, it's like you have two paths of this fork. You either have anime style or the kid head, same proportions, eyes the same size, and just taller, stretchier body, like adult body with a kid face. Instead of like, because you have to make the eyes smaller and reproportion the things. Like keep the same like drawings, but reproportion them so they look like an adult.
It's funny because I think they did that in an episode of the original Rugrats where they're adults, but they just have the baby heads. Yeah. So really, they're being true to the series.
I think the only fan art I can stand of where they make them adults is, I think the Hey Arnold stuff is really cute.
Oh yeah,
I like the Hey Arnold fan art where they're adults. I think that's just nice. I don't have any other analysis.
I like to imagine that Grandpa is still alive and he just looks more skeletal than ever. He's just like.
Remember that dream sequence in Hey Arnold where Arnold imagines his grandpa as sort of a zombie saying,
"Oh yeah," and he's like, "That's what I was thinking of." Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
And his chin falls off.
Those were weird shows.
I mean, I could think of some weirder.
Do you know what annoys me? Okay, do you know what annoys me? I hate it when people apply criticisms to Teen Titans Go that they don't to shows that were on when we were a kid. You know, we were kids.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like
example.
What?
Okay, so people are like, fart humor, really? And then meanwhile they're like, do you know what was a great show? The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Which was a lot of fart humor, but
Billy and Mandy had a lot of fart jokes and an assload of references, like blatant fucking references.
I feel like I can guarantee you in 20 years there's going to be some nostalgia YouTube channel that's going to be like just people being like, do you remember Teen Titans Go? That was a good show.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's almost everything that's hated on the internet. Give it like 5 years and it's no longer the popular thing to hate, and then it becomes a nostalgia property.
I'm going to say this right now, and this will make a shitstorm in your comments, but I feel like we're 10 years away from people loving, like, it's good, you know, I think the hatred for The Last Jedi is going to die off.
What the fuck?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if The Last Jedi will get like a Metal Gear Solid 2 like kind of like delayed response, because I know you're not into video games, but I'll explain. Metal Gear Solid 2 did a big twist where instead of playing as the character you wanted to play as, you played as some different guy named Raiden. And the whole point of the game was subverting expectations and like showing how by controlling the flow of information, you can easily manipulate people. That was the whole point of the game, and people fucking hated it because they missed the whole point. We're like, I wanted to play as the cool guy. I didn't want to play as Raiden.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking Last Jedi might be like.
Is this the one where people think that Luigi is secretly an unlockable character? Or am I thinking of something else?
No, this is a different game, you smart aleck.
Oh, okay.
Or were you not being sarcastic? And I
was being sarcastic, but
Okay,
Alex
good.
was on a different episode, I thought.
Yeah. Just remember, today's bullshit is tomorrow's nostalgia.
Yeah.
People were.
I can't
remember when people fucking hated what's that? Transformers animated. Now everyone wants to suck its dick.
I wasn't too into that.
I liked it a lot, actually. Well, okay, so like I'm a Transformers fan. I'm a big one. I got into Beast Wars. Like Beast Wars is like my jam.
Oh yeah, okay.
But like I'm not a big fan of G1. So like being a Transformers fan who doesn't care for G1 is like literally the worst. So like I like Beast Wars, I like Animated, and I like Prime. But everything else is always a regurgitation of G1.
G1,
so,
yeah, exactly.
Like the toys now kind of look like poop because they're all like really simple square shaped things, and it makes it look really cheap. But everyone seems to love it, and I'm just like, can we get Beast Wars reunion, like a anniversary thing where we get new toys of that? That's not the giant $200. Go ahead.
Can I admit something a little embarrassing? This might kill my my rap. I sort of watched My Little Pony when it was first coming out.
Which one?
The new one.
Oh, okay.
The new My Little Pony.
Yeah, it's a good show.
It's
like,
a good show, and
it
the characters are funny, and the episodes.
Just because it has a bad fan base doesn't mean you have to be embarrassed by it.
Well, at the time, everyone was like, "It's like a girly show. You can't get into it." And like, so I watched a bunch of episodes. I think I watched maybe like half of the first season, which isn't as much as I probably made it seem like. And I liked it. I liked the characters. I liked the storylines. But the fan base did kind of turn it off for me because I didn't feel a way to share my admiration with people who I liked.
Yeah, they were just all over the bronies were just all over the place in the early 2010s, and it was just a suffocating force.
Yeah, there was a brony version of everything, and that I didn't like that.
You could look up any character and find them as an MLP character. It was great.
Yeah,
I've kind of learned to just like unapologetically love the things I do, and if people are going to judge me in so long as I'm celebrating it in a healthy way, have at the judgment. I don't care. I've given that up a long time ago.
Yeah, like cigarettes.
I don't really understand the huge wide like I watched My Little Pony Friendship of Magic because I wanted to see what the hubbub was about, and I really liked the two-parter episodes where they felt like there was actual stakes and there was a plot. But slice of life shows don't really do much for me, and a lot of the characters, people are like, they're so deep, and they're like, no, they're pretty much one-note characters. They have like two personality traits, and that consistently is what they do over and over again. So I think people were just so expecting girl shows to be this like catering exclusive, like not unisex, like it's always has to be like, oh, it's a girl thing. And then as soon as like this girl show came out and it was like unisex and it had like a broad appeal, all of a sudden it's amazing writing.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, it's okay writing, like it's serviceable.
Perhaps we're judging it too harshly because it is the context. The context is that it's a children's program. And of course, the fact that I couldn't get super into it is just the fact that I wasn't a child. I was like for sure. It was like sophomore year of high school. I just think it was a really smart, cool kids show. And I'm sure we're, what is it now? 7 years away from a huge nostalgia wave for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can't wait until the nostalgia wave for Problem Solvers happens. That'll be pretty cool.
Or Mega Babies.
Well, that had its chance.
There were a lot of weird shows, and occasionally I see people be nostalgic for those.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the Meat Puppet Show?
Mr. Meaty?
Mr.
I
Meaty.
always bring that up in my videos because it's the most surreal show from my childhood. I'm not sure why it existed.
I love the theme song, how it openly says, like, all of God's creatures fresh off the grill, which is pretty strange that they flat out just mentioned God. Like, they usually just say, oh my gosh.
I remember... I was really enamored with... They did commercials where they would show the process of making the puppets, which is a very basic Sesame Street gimmick, you know? But I just remember being totally enamored with the process of creating these people, basically. And they would make like a puppet of the interviewer, and that was really cool. I'm sure that inspired some sort of artistic gumption in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
What other weird shows do you guys remember from the past?
Tons.
The past. Symbionic Titan.
Oh yeah, that was a big thing. Except it got canceled because it wasn't a show.
It wasn't.
Oh, that's okay. You don't know how much how hard you shoved a knife into his heart.
You ever see that image of Vegeta getting a laser through his chest? That was me just now. You fucking killed me, Quinton.
Didn't Symbiotic Titans have that infamous ass dance scene? Where this girl just does this huge dance where they very fiercely animate her ass, and it's the gimmick. She's trying to get someone to do homework for her.
You're killing me, Smalls. I can't take it.
To be fair, that clip got me into the show, so I'm not gonna lie.
Was the plot of that show that they were pretending to be siblings, but they were actually romantically?
No.
Oh.
He's foaming in the mouth.
I'm not foaming. I'm coughing up blood. The plot of the show was a princess, her bodyguard, and a very, very super genius AI fly down to Earth, and they have to assimilate with human life. And since they're high school age, they go to high school. And
so it's kind of like Invader Zim, except girly, right? It sounds like Invader Zim to me.
Man, this main character looks like what is he? What a ripoff!
What is going on with you? What are you talking about?
I don't know. You just described Invader Zim. There's someone coming down. They're an alien. They got a robot. It sounds like Invader Zim.
You sound insane.
This is literally Gur.
I don't like this.
We're holding Nolan back from murdering
the Rugrats.
We're holding him down and spitting on him.
A new vid by Saber Sparks.
What did you say about Saber Spark?
Oh, Dill killed the Rugrats. Fact.
Is this a
new vid by
Is this
Saber
a
Sparks.
mecha show, by the way?
It is.
It was.
It is.
Rugrats in Paris was a mecha.
I liked the mecha show where it was just like they find a robot in a junkyard. What is it? Megasex
LR.
Megasex LR. That was good. They should have kept that on it, but still canceled Symbiotic Titan.
I believe that unironically.
I don't know. It's funny.
You just want to get into questions.
Quinton, you're just pinning me against the wall and just sucker punching me in the stomach. You threw me over a wall and then I fell off down a cliff.
It's like that scene from The Simpsons where Homer falls down the gourd.
Yeah. Do you guys remember the trend where some executive at Cartoon Network was like, how do we reinvent this network? And someone was like, oh, what if we add things that aren't cartoons? And they were like, genius, we'll just make shows that aren't cartoons. And so they hit all at once without doing any test. They released 7 late night not cartoon shows. Do you remember this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We all remember that.
And there was a show, I think there was a show set at Kings Island. There was a show Build Destroy.
Oh yeah, Destroy.
Build Destroy.
That was cool. I remember it being cool. They had a ghost show that had no merit because no one on the show was interesting.
The other Shiders.
I'm thinking of Symbiotic Titans. I'm sorry.
Fuck this.
And what else did they have? I know they had Inside Joey's Head or whatever, which is this weird Disney
Inside Joey's Head.
They had I think they had some Survivor Man show where he threw a bunch of kids out in the woods and made them try to survive. And they kept
you could tell it was fake because of child labor laws.
Yeah.
Are we sure we're not talking about
Oh.
Rugrats again? Because that sounds like a Rugrats episode.
It was the live-action Rugrats movie.
Are they making a live-action Rugrats movie, or is that something else?
They're making a reboot movie. I don't know if it's live-action.
I think the movie is going to be live action with CGI babies that are supposed to look realistic, and then they're making a CGI TV show.
God, I don't even know if you're joking, because that sounds like a stupid enough idea for someone to do.
Thanks, I hate it.
My favorite is that the TV show version, people are like posting fan art of like people who do like CGI models just to see what it's like, you know, to get a job and put in their portfolio. And like people are just like randomly pulling those up and attaching it. And people don't fact check on Twitter. It's like as soon as they see something, oh, that's it. And like people are getting really upset. And like some of it was like really like there was one picture of Chucky and he has like little dot eyes and it's really fucking adorable. Like it looks nothing like the original show, but kind of into it. Like I think I would be happy with that reimagining.
Are you guys excited for we haven't talked about the Disney Channel at all, which was just I never talk about Disney Channel when these topics come up, even though that was the one I watched the most. Are you guys excited for the Kim Possible live action? What is it? A series? It's a series, right?
No, it's just a
movie. It's a TV movie.
It's just a movie. I'm kind of excited for that.
Danger or trouble, I'm there on the double. You know that you always can call Kim Possible. So what's the sitch? Call me, beat me if you wanna reach me.
Like I want to complain about the costume, but I can't now because like creeps on the internet are like, why isn't a 16-year-old girl's midriff being shown? And I'm just like, it just looks like a bad costume, but now I can't say anything about it because you guys fucking ruined it.
Yeah, exactly right. That always happens.
What's with the deal with the straps on the costume? Like the costume's fine, but
I don't think it looks fine because it doesn't look like a spy outfit. Like if she had like a
because cargo pants totally looks more like a spy outfit.
Well, it's like a stylized spy outfit. Like, I'm not saying like it has to be, but like they have these weird like straps and like these like weird go boots or whatever, and like it just looks like kind of like a final. It's like Tetsuya Nomura designed it. Like, add more straps and zippers and belts.
Did you guys hear that Patton Oswalt is going to be playing his character from the original show?
I don't know if he's playing his character because they said that they're gonna appear. The original voice actors are gonna appear in some form as a cameo.
No, it says he's playing his original character in the release I saw.
Dementor, yeah,
which makes sense because he could totally pull that off.
They're gonna paint John DiMaggio blue.
Disney XD is starting to play Kim Possible a lot more, which is weird because they don't usually play something from this early on in Disney's history.
When I was a kid, I remember the 2 episodes that premiered. It was like the first one, and the second one was like the camp one with the lake. And I remember watching the first one. Yeah, I said there was the first episode and the second one. I remember those 2 airing back to back on I remember the premiere. Because I had to like go over to a friend's place after watching the first one, and there's like that 5-minute period of trying to get over to my friend's place before the second episode aired. I was super stoked about it. Yeah. I think I was like 11 at the time. That's all I wanted to say. I just remember like being really hyped about the show.
I remember Kim Possible not as in detail as some people do. The kind of people who've probably rewatched it this stage. I remember being seriously confused with the continuity of the show because I was never sure if people knew that Kim Possible was a spy.
Oh, right.
They knew she saved the world to an extent. Like people at school even like pointed out like, "Oh, you saving the world, you fucking nerd." Saving the world. Why don't you go get a boyfriend, idiot?
Bitch.
You think just because you saved the world from automatic disintegration that you can walk around here like you're queen? Get into the Heather's social hierarchy, baby.
I like how you used the very specific terminology of disintegration. That's so specific.
It's great.
I remember they were really banking on the fact that the 3 main actors were all people from different shows. Like it was the girl from Even Stevens, Smart Kid as the computer kid. Wait,
Boy Meets World.
What's that?
Mm-hmm.
Boy Meets World is Ron.
Right.
Will Friddle. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
It's that guy.
So what the hell's with the fucking straps? I don't get it.
I like them. I think, honestly, baggy pants as a spy makes no sense outside of the cartoon aesthetic. So they just had to change it up. And I agree. I think either Nolan or my roommate said that it was like unnecessarily complicated, the design.
That's my beef with it.
I kind of agree with it, but at the same time, I think the strappy thing is kind of cool, and it's something I would personally wear.
But I mean, I think like, that the cartoon design would be just too simplified if you did it.
Do you know what's weird about Disney Channel when compared to all the other channels? When you think of Nick stars or Cartoon Network stars, they didn't do anything. But Disney Channel had this weird thing where they would grab people who were going to be famous eventually, and they were like, we're going to make a bunch of straight-to-TV movies with you. So, so it's weird that Disney Channel, they have like the Demi Lovato,
Hilary Duff.
Yeah. I think Megan Fox was in some of their movies. But specifically like Demi Lovato and
Lindsay Lohan.
Who was the one in the Wizard show?
Wizards of Waverly Place, Selena Gomez. Yeah.
Selena Gomez. Well, I think it's just weird that those two were so Disney centric, and now they have completely other things going on. I guess Nick also had Ariana
Grande.
Yeah.
Well, I think Cartoon Network tried to jump on that later because I think the voice of Finn, he's became his own thing too. To the point where he actually left midway through the Adventure Time panel to go to a different panel that he's on.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon's weird to an extent because it's a lot more shady, I feel like. But that's partly the Dan Schneider thing.
I feel bad for a lot of child stars who have grown up and had to deal with living as celebrities, because that can't be good for their mental health at all.
Yeah, frankly, I think you shouldn't. I don't think you should go famous until you're 22 at least. Which I'm not 22 yet, so. What am I talking about? No, I'm not.
Shit, I thought you were. Damn.
You look like.
Am I the oldest one here?
I'm older than you. You look.
Oh wait, yeah.
20s.
Sound a lot older.
Oh, thank you,
Quinton. How many subscribers do you have?
What'd you say?
How many subscribers do you have?
God. The desperation in Pan's.
I want to feel ashamed of myself.
Pan wants to compare dick size.
Did you ask me how many subscribers I have?
Yeah, how many subscribers do you have, Quinton?
I think I just hit 291,000.
Oh shit, he's catching up. Fuck.
How many do you have, Buck?
And he's younger than me.
Pan has plateaued at about 300K for a couple years now.
Oh, that's sad. I feel bad.
Oh, actually, it's been rising after I made that clickbait Incredibles video, so it's about to reach 400,000.
Well, good. That's good.
It's only been 4 or 5 years.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah, but there was a huge spike.
Good. I'm glad you're finally proud of yourself.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's what I don't know. I've been stagnating and just doing everything on a formula,
Yeah, I like how Quinton was like, "That's good," and inside he's just like, "Better get ready, bitch. Coming for you, coming at you hard."
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Quinton.
So you guys want
Quinton materializes right behind Pan and instantly knocks him out with a karate chop to the neck.
So you guys want to get into questions?
And yeah, all right, guys. Question time. If you want us to see your question, put the word "question" in all caps in front of it so we can Control F that shit. Also, make sure you point out who the question is directed to, or if it's just to everybody you know, just go at it. Just go at it.
Yeah.
Ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, we'll let Quinton pick the first question.
Someone asked why they were on the podcast before me.
That's Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo was on a podcast before us, and then Pan fucked up the schedule because that's just how Pan rolls. So
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry. You can pick another question. That's just my friend Nick being a dick.
Someone asked me about my thoughts on the Voltron controversy. I don't know what that is.
So
what happened this time?
They made one of the main characters queer and then immediately killed off his love interest.
Oh, that's
what I'm hearing in the comments. I haven't seen it.
Actually,
basically.
Go ahead. Explain, Nolan.
Explain.
Izzy explained it very well. They hyped up. The main character from Voltron has a boyfriend. Oh, he's dead now. Thanks for watching.
I think he had a romantic relationship for 2 minutes on the show or something, like a total screen time before killing them off.
It's queer baiting. It's queer baiting where they're technically queer, but they barely show it and just give you a nod, and that's it. That's
like,
it's basically
like the character from Beauty and the Beast, right?
Yeah, and Korra, the end of Korra. Yeah,
it's almost as bad.
Okay. Here's a good question, especially for you, Nolan. Ratchet B Dream 6 asks, how do you feel about Ben Schwartz playing every blue character, such as Sonic the Hedgehog?
I'm fine with Ben Schwartz playing him. He sounds like he'd be good for the role. I just don't know why they didn't cast like the actual guy if they were going to cast somebody who's at the same level of like popularity or notoriety.
I think Ben Schwartz is going to do a great job. Actually, I think he'll bring the character without feeling kind of awkward, because I think Sonic usually is kind of an awkward character.
I feel like Ben Schwartz will bring the same kind of energy as Urkel would.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have a problem with him at all. I think he'd be good. I just don't get why I just don't get the decision behind it. Is the thing. It's just weird. I mean,
like he's starting to be in everything because he has popularity with Parks and Rec as far as live action stuff goes, and then he's in Ninja Turtles. He's in DuckTales. Again, he's playing every blue character, and so I think just with him having so many, like he's got buzz. It's
What's
not a
the
lot
use
of
in
buzz.
feeling blue, Ben?
Oh, I got a question here. Goku Orange says, question, what's everyone's thoughts on the new South Park Game Boy Color game that was unearthed? Because it was lost media for a while. And now this new South Park video game from the Game Boy Color has been finally released, and you can play it. It's basically a Donkey Kong ripoff. Donkey Kong on Game Boy. Yeah, like the original arcade Donkey Kong.
Oh, I thought you were like.
But later it was like, since they never got released, the company that made it just reskinned it and turned it into like a Mary Kate and Ashley video game.
Was that what the Game Boy? That was on Game Boy, right? Was that Mary Ashley Mysteries?
I don't know. It's the one where you're just climbing ladders and, you know, like Donkey Kong.
And you're solving puzzles?
I guess so, maybe. I'm not sure, because I know there's multiple ones.
Oh, man, my sister had that game, and I used to play it all.
That's how Nolan became the man he is.
Oh, well, this used to be a South Park game, and I played the ROM, and it has, like, digital voices, so you can hear, what the crap? But in digital compression. It's great.
All right, here's a question someone threw up. And the chat's going by too quickly, so I can't find it again. But it was basically which cartoon fandom makes it hard. Which toxic fandom makes it the hardest for you to get into a show? And I think they suggested Steven Universe or Voltron. And I think we kind of touched upon it earlier with the whole just unapologetically watch what you want to watch and don't care about the fandom.
I never really had a problem with fans. I can generally like separate the two.
Yeah. I think fans are not really a problem unless you purposely go out and seek it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Question, will you ever have Butch Hartman as a guest on your podcast?
I think we killed that.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, that's not
Butch
going to happen.
Hartman used to follow Pan until Pan made a video about Dougal, and then he unsubscribed.
What is Dougal?
So sad.
Dougal is a... it's a movie that was bought from the UK by the Weinstein Company, and they were like, wait, this movie is fucking boring. So they brought in Butch Hartman and were like, fix it. And Butch Hartman's like, okay, I guess I'll try. And he couldn't fix it.
They redubbed it.
Yeah, they redubbed.
With celebrity voices and nothing but pop culture references.
Think of it as like when 4Kids dubbed Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! And made full changes to it to make it be more American. That's what Dougal was like.
Okay.
Yeah, Dougal's Pokemon the movie.
Well, of course, I talked about on another podcast, there's a movie like that I want to make a video about, but the history of it's really complex.
Ooh.
And that's Robotech, the movie.
I've heard of that.
Isn't that an anime, I think?
It's
that's like old man anime.
Yeah, it's a really old anime adaptation. I get the big hook of the story is that he got told by Canon Films, who were releasing the film, he got told there weren't enough robots and there were too many girls in the movie. So he had to change this movie he was dubbing. So he just put in a different show in between the scenes.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's a really interesting film. I'm going to try and make a video about it before the year's out.
Damn, that's like a Godfrey Ho movie. Like there was this director who would make shitty ninja movies, and he didn't have enough footage, so he would just recycle his older ninja movies and splice them in, even though the plots don't connect whatsoever.
Well, a lot of old dubs are like that. Of course, the original Godzilla film is.
But this isn't a dub. This is like the actual director's intent.
That's bizarre.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
Reminds me of all the planning for the live action Evangelion movie that never happened, because I love that show. I bookmarked this article because it was just really fascinating. Either Pan or Quinton, you guys would probably make an interesting video out of it someday, maybe. I don't know. But it's basically just how the company that dubbed the anime wanted to like go further and make a live action movie, and how it just completely fell apart, and how it wound up, the people who wanted to make it wound up suing the parent company.
Ooh,
it's crazy. It's very crazy. I love it. It'd be a great like little docu piece or whatever.
I could see Bedhead Bernie making something cool out of that.
Yeah, but Bedhead Bernie doesn't do animation anymore. Instead, he just talks about teeth.
The teeth video was great. What are you talking about?
My tsundere friend has a fetish for teeth.
Oh my god. Okay.
That's a good way to
What do your parents think of your YouTube careers? That's a question from Psycho SoCal. Some sort of psychopath in the middle of Southern California. Watch out for this man.
Yeah, they think it's cool, you know.
Yeah, it's weird. It comes up from time to time. They're cool with it, but they don't really watch my videos. What about you guys?
I don't have a YouTube presence per se. I more so draw for commissions, and most of the time it winds up being erotica because that's what sells. And I had to come clean to my parents one time because it was just like, it was getting annoying just having to like find a workarounds. And it's like, yeah, I just draw this. And my mom was like, oh, okay, I guess. And then my dad's like, my dad was like, why would you draw that, Nolan? Every time I talk to my dad, I progressively disappoint him further and further. And that it's just like, every time I'm like, hey dad, I draw porn. Hey dad, I'm gay. And he's just like, ugh.
One person keeps asking about the Nostalgia Critic's Sonic 1999 review, which
I don't watch trash.
Yeah,
sir.
Exactly right. I don't know why people always, anytime Doug Walker does anything or anything about the Channel Awesome thing gets mentioned anywhere, it gets sent to me.
Yeah, me too. But
I don't know.
But
I don't know how to respond. You know, like
right. Well, why do we want to watch? I mean, I hate the fact, because I actually really like YouTube's like autoplay thing. Sometimes it introduced me to cool videos, but like 90%, I had to turn it off because 90% it always brings me to Nostalgia Critic,
yes,
Game Theory.
Well, but you have to tell the algorithm that you don't like it. Like go and say
it doesn't matter half the time. Like you have to do it like 20 times before it goes, oh, okay, you don't like this content. Or if they do make some kind of video and you're like, all right, I'm kind of interested to see what they do with this. And now it's like, oh, you must really liked this show.
Do you know who I really feel bad for?
You gotta tell that algorithm, like, bitch, I don't want this shit.
I feel bad for the people that were with Channel Awesome for like a year or more, because I made one video about these guys and I get spammed every time they do anything. So imagine having spent years working for them. And then,
people like the Lindsay Ellis, or like some of the people that were there and had a really shitty time and actually like contributed to that like document. Like imagine YouTube force feeds me that shit.
Yeah,
I can't imagine her feed always having that everywhere. You know?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Well, from what I've heard, and I don't know her personally, just from reading the document, she got it off easy compared to like Lupa or Mars Girl or a lot of the other women.
For sure.
Well, that's not what it was. Is that she's in the present. She just doesn't want to.
Yeah.
I kind of know her, but I know her super well. And it's not that she didn't have dirt. It's that she just wanted to clarify things.
Yeah.
That people were putting words in her mouth.
I get that. So I guess like I said, I didn't know her, so I don't have the complete picture. That was my assertion, and it was incorrect. Thank you for clarifying.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she could have had a rough time, and she just doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, well, some people just want to put it past them, and also like Lindsay is still in the spotlight because a lot of the Channel Awesome people, they're very niche, and they still have like a decent, like a really hardcore small following of like a couple of thousand people, you know, like none of them, like I think most of them at most have like 100,000 subscribers, which in YouTube is nothing. I mean,
yeah,
like,
Link Hard just broke 100,000.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, because I have a plaque and all that. Like, so like for me to say it's nothing, like again, it's a lot of hard work to get to that point. But like for her, who's like way further ahead and still constantly in people, like she's still, not to say that other people aren't relevant, but you know, she's relevant to a lot of people. To just like bring up a lot of stuff and bring up drama and like that, it's not going to end well for her. It's going to be a lot of harassment.
Yeah, absolutely. She commented on one of my videos, and I was dumb enough I used to go through my spam folder, and so I ended up reading the hundreds of comments that went to spam in response to her.
Oh.
And oh god, it's not pretty. It's some of the worst things I've ever read people say. Like it's bad.
Yeah. It's really sad.
I mean, I think it's lucky. I think it's great that she does have one of the main comments I got on my video when I mentioned that she used to be on the channel. I mentioned Lindsay Ellis and The Amazing Atheist were on Channel Awesome at the same time, making basically the same kinds of videos. And the comment I got more than anything else was, wait, Lindsay Ellis was on Channel Awesome? and that's how successful she's been, because she's incredibly talented, and I frankly think she's the best film analysis channel that I currently watch.
I absolutely agree. Don't always agree with what she posts on Twitter, but she is a very, very good film analyst.
I mean, I get that a lot too. People don't usually agree with my politics, but
politics is politics.
It's going to be set. It should be separate from your videos, and I just think she's so fab, and she has a completely separate fan base, and I think that's great.
Yeah, I like when she does bring up politics. They're usually relevant, though. Unlike some people who will like, and that wasn't like a catcall to anybody, just like other people who usually will try to put politics in their videos. It's very
she's not just like she's not like we're gonna analyze Back to the Future Part 7. I don't like Donald Trump.
Yeah,
it's not like that.
It's always relevant. That's what I appreciate with Lindsay.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Was that a question?
No.
You were so naive then. That was like season 1 of like a soap opera. Now we're on like season 15 and we're pretending we care, but we don't really care anymore. And so every week there's a new plot twist. And they're like, did you know Donald Trump's lawyer also worked for this guy on Fox News? And I'm like, who is that?
Yeah.
Is he like, was he in season 2 or something? Why is
I need to catch up.
You know what we got to do? It's just to bring back like all the hate for the Bush administration. Bring back all.
Let's bring back
Blue
Bush season 3.
But
Come on,
but Pan, why would we bring it back? The mission was accomplished.
Boo!
Got him.
Yay!
Oh yeah, I'm gonna shift back from politics though. I want to pick a question.
Okay.
Here's a good one. Question from Michael Gutierrez with a 6 instead of a G. Where does time to get a boner?
At the mortuary.
Hot dog!
Next question.
Worst time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby shower.
At the family reunion.
Yeah. Yeah, all of these are terrible. I regret this question. I thought it would be funny, but instead it was just suffering. Nintendo Reviews, back at it again, says, question for Quinton and Pan, and apparently not us, because he's a dick.
Okay.
How do you guys come up with video ideas?
It's usually whatever interests me, and then I'll spend a while just thinking about it to myself, and then I'll pace around in my kitchen until I can think of a way to start off the video. It has gotten to the point where I won't make a video unless I have a good title in my head. Do you ever have that problem? Because it's almost like if the video doesn't get the views, you can't justify working on it.
Oh, that's
yeah, because I'm like, how can I clickbait the fuck out of this title?
Exactly right.
Oh, speaking of which, Pan, I need Nolan. We got to talk about this. Nolan's trying to apply for New York Comic-Con, and he's going to link your social medias because he's going to go as representation for Pizza Party Podcast to get like a press badge. And the very first fucking post on Facebook, you couldn't link your Facebook or your RebelTaxi one because it says don't go to Comic-Con because of your most recent video.
Classic. Yeah.
Thanks, Pan. I hate it.
Whoops.
But yeah, so I had to nix your Facebook from the press pass, which luckily they didn't require from me. So
yay.
Good. Yeah. So if I've been I want to contribute to this question anyway, since I want to do videos eventually as a hobby. But I always think about like, I like doing weird idiosyncratic, like off-topic shit, because that's just how I roll. So I always think about like, what's one really weird like niche talking point I could talk about for like 5-10 minutes.
Oh, exactly. I also think about how to tell the story and how to tell like a story out of it. Sometimes it's a review, sometimes not.
Yeah. I am working on assets for my own new YouTube channel. Like I've kind of decided that I'm going to do it again.
Yes.
But I'm going to do mostly art videos and some like editorial stuff whenever I fancy it. But I'm not doing it for popularity or even a subscriber count. Like I'm just doing it for the sake of like it'll be entertaining to myself. And then and partially because I want to help. Like I think the Pizza Party Podcast wants to do more like convention stuff. And they really only pay for like Pan and like one other person sometimes. So if there's another person on the podcast that has a decent following, because like my old channel did pretty well. So if I do art again, it might get there again, maybe, and then they could justify more plane flights.
Ooh.
Okay, so this is a good one. Question: Quinton, are you excited for Crom and Smash Brothers?
Who gives
I love
a
how
shit?
I get asked this question. I've clarified about 7 times in the stream, but I don't really play video games.
What's your favorite video game, Quentin?
Jak 2.
What's your favorite video game character?
Wait, hold the fucking phone for it. Jak 2? Really?
That's a good game. I sometimes load that up. I'm really natural at that.
But it's such a whiplash from the first one and so difficult.
Yeah, it's great. Well, I mean, I don't like the tank level, but it's great. I just level jump wherever I want to hang out. You know, it's like taking a summer vacation back to my home. I don't play the game start to end. You know, my favorite thing to do is I have a completed version with from my childhood with all the little Easter eggs. So I go to the cutscene selection. I start playing the first cutscene. I take the disc out. I close the PS2, and then it says put the disc back in. I open the PS2. I put the disc back in. I close the PS2, and then I'm in Jak 1 as Jak 2 because I broke the game. So I just wander around Samos's hut from Jak 1 as Jak 2.
You can what?
What?
Yeah, I don't know if you can do this on an emulator, but you can do it with a PS2.
I think Game Trailers did something on that, like some sort of glitch that was only ever used for a cutscene.
But that's one of my favorite things to do. I just really like Jak 2. Jak 3 I played as well, start to finish, just full narrative, and that game is what I've heard is they were working on it for a couple months and then they had to like finish it for a Christmas release, and you can really tell because the narrative doesn't make any sense at some stage. The game is sort of broken because the narrative of the game should go. It's like he gets put in the desert, and then someone wants him to come back, and he says, I'm not coming back to Haven City. And then 10 minutes later, you're going back to Haven City, you know? And the parts in Haven City have like no coherent plot. You're just being sent on random missions that have nothing to do with Jak's journey. And then you go back to the desert place, and suddenly there's like a story. But no one in the desert place talks about the fact that you went back to Haven City. They all act like you've been in the desert place the whole time. So I think the whole game was supposed to be set in the desert place. Additionally, there's the part of the game where you have to go and get light Jak powers, like light eco powers. And that has no narrative bearing on the game. No one ever really discusses that. I think there are some bosses that we use as a power. And finally, there's the guns. The guns... Other than one or two moments in the desert, the guns have no narrative relevancy. And at some point, characters will hand Jak a gun without saying anything. Like there wasn't any dialogue recorded for that scene. So he just gets handed a gun. And the guns break the game. So they're attachments to the Jak 2 guns. And they do different things now.
I'm hungry.
You're hungry? That what
I don't know. It's like I never played Jak 2, so I'm just like, what is all this?
This is honestly bizarre though. Like you're like, I'm not a gamer, and then Jak 2 and 3 analysis essay.
All right, so
just out of nowhere.
Okay, let me give you an example of how the guns break this game. One of the attachments you get is it attaches to the yellow gun. The yellow gun shoots like straight line bullets, right? Well,
and it ricochets, right?
Yeah, one of the attachments makes the line bullets ricochet. So, like, you'll go to a part of the game where you're supposed to hit targets to activate train tracks or something, and you don't even have to try. You can stand at the front and just shoot that gun like 17 times, and you've basically hit most of the targets for like a mile down in the game, you know?
Yeah. I remember like spamming like the spin shoot attack with the ricochet bullets, and they just fly everywhere.
In close concealed place, the ricochet bullets. And finally, as a final thing, Errol is in the game, which makes the game, you know, Errol is the main villain of the game. Errol was a very small character in the second game who died when he accidentally drove his racing car into a wall and it exploded.
As you do.
And Errol gets rebuilt as like a cyborg, and it looks like there was like one scrap of his face was left and got stretched over a robot. And he has built like a giant spaceship over Haven City, and so you go and blow it up, and so it'll fall down, but it still stays in the sky for the rest of the game, right? A clear sign that they didn't finish the game. And then you have to go and fight him in the desert, which in your car, and Errol is just such an irrelevant character that it makes the whole game feel like one of those shitty comics. You know how movies and TV shows will have like a spin-off comic made by IDW or something, where the comic creators don't have any good ideas. So they're like, well, what if we bring back that one character who, you know...
Thanks, Kermit the Frog.
You're welcome. That's with a voice I've been practicing recently. So it's just my go-to. It's my go-to funny voice.
Hey, anyway, can we talk about something else?
No! Okay, Pan, you do this every time. Whenever there's something actually legitimately really fascinating.
We're going on a long-ass tangent about Jak 2 for some reason.
You love PS2 era games.
Jak 3. Jak 3, not Jak 2. Now, Jak 2, it's not really different. I'm joking.
Quinton, trying to make more jack-off references. Pan likes those.
Also, Pan, you made us sit through Mike Mozart ranting for 3 hours. You have no right to complain. Shut the fuck up and let the man talk about Jak 3.
Look, we have the power to change things now.
No. You have 3 hours of tangent to sit through. So you shut your mouth and let Quinton speak about one of his favorite games.
I grew up on the GameCube. I never played the Jak franchise.
Too bad!
Oh.
All right, Quinton, continue. Make hands suffer.
Oh, okay. Then there was Daxter. That game existed.
The PSP spin-offs of all those games where it's just like...
They're never good.
It's the console game, but worse. Please buy it.
Guys, I'm going to go eat, so I'll see you later.
The Ratchet and Clank franchise really shot off into how many Ratchet and if you were going to say the Ratchet and Clank story, you have to play the ones that are important. Like, which ones would you choose? It would surely be like 3 of the PS2 and PSP games, and then 2 of the PS3 games. You know, most of them weren't too important.
Video game sequels are the fucking worst, especially like stuff like Kingdom Hearts. The Kingdom Hearts 3 is the 13th entry in the series.
What the hell? Yeah, I heard that half the stuff I've been waiting for them to resolve from the second game have already been resolved in other games that were not numbered for some reason.
Well, like explain the Kingdom Hearts like lore. It's just that Charlie Day meme where it's like him with a cigarette pointing at him with all the stuff like tied around like a conspiracy theory. I don't know what episode it is, but it's like
I think it's the health insurance one.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
I can't believe Pan straight up left.
Is it who left?
He legitimately left.
Because we were talking about Jak 3.
Yeah, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm sure he's playing up a bit. We can pick since it's been about 2 hours though. Let's pick one question and then call it a day.
I like. There's one. It's went away since then, so I can't name off the person. I'm really bad at that. But they asked, do puppets count as animation?
Oh, we've got that one a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't they? You're animating it with your hands.
Yeah, I think it counts. I just don't think it's unconventional animation.
Well, it's a different medium. It's like
it was Fennec
Fox Fanatic. Yeah, I've seen it.
Because there's good puppeteering and there's bad puppeteering, and a lot of like how a puppet moves, you can apply a lot of the principles of animation.
It's like that one show, Pliny, was it? It was a Korean puppet show that was brought over here and butchered really badly.
I almost feel like calling puppeteering animation is not doing it justice, because it's this whole other fascinating genre.
It's kind of like, it's like theater, which is a very, very different like medium, because you have to basically do a movie in one go and make sure everything goes off properly. I think the most metal form of performance art is theater, in my opinion.
That's pretty fair. I mean, because it's one go. There's a lot of improv. If you mess up, you have to catch yourself, and then also try not to reveal to the audience that
you messed up.
Right. There was a weird lesbian skit on SNL I wound up watching, and like the one lesbian Ghostbuster girl, Kate something, can't remember. But she had to like I watched it the first time, and it wasn't really that funny of a skit. But there's a point where the guy completely missed his cue. And I wound up looking at the comment section, and someone mentioned that like you could see Kate reminding him of his cue in it. And I go back and look, and she like slowly kind of kicks him with her foot without like her losing her like composure, and it reminds him what he's supposed to say. And like that's really, really cool. And like that kind of applies to what you're saying, Nolan. Like that's pretty fucking badass.
It becomes part of the joke and the story, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I guess that is the Pizza Party podcast.
So
Spoe might have a thought on the theater.
I don't, Izzy. At all.
I'm trying to help you, buddy.
Oh, Pan came back. All right, so guys, let's talk about the second Jak PSP game, the one that's like end of the world. What is it called? Jak at the end of the world.
It's called Jak Attack.
Yeah, and then let's talk about Dark Daxter, the lore behind Dark Daxter. Why does suddenly he have Dark Jak powers? That's the question. What's the difference between Jak 1 and the second Jak PSP game?
Exactly. So we can safely assume this will be a video upcoming on your channel, but is there any upcoming videos you'd like to promote here or anything, Quinton?
I'm working on a short film that'll be out in the start of September, and other than that, I'm working on some top secret analysis videos, which I don't want people to know quite yet about. But one of them is about Disneyland, so look out for that.
I love Disneyland videos. Go subscribe to Quinton. Quinton, give him a shout out.
Actually, subscribe to. It's youtube.com/Quinton Reviews Kitchen Sinks. And then when you're done subscribing to me, go check out Defunctland, who you should have been watching instead of listening to this podcast.
That's
and
true.
Subscribe to him as well. Press that bell. Put on notifications for Defunctland.
And Lindsay Ellis. We brought this full circle, everybody.
Lindsay Ellis, yes. Absolutely.
How about you get the funk out of here?
All right. That was Pan. We're gonna move him. Call again. We're just gonna there we go.
Nope.
And then Izzy, Spoe, would you like to say your words? Izzy first.
Thank you, Mr. Review, for coming on. It was fun.
Oh, it was fun. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr.
But yeah,
Review.
have everyone have a great week, I guess. I don't know. Hey.
Yeah.
Make sure to like, comment, and murder the subscribe button.
If you made it this far in the podcast, we should ask them to say something. That's quirky.
Type out Waffles XD.
Yeah, do that.
That's Pan. That's my Pan goodbye for him since he's being a brat today. All right, goodbye, gamers forever.
All right, bye. That's all you need.
That's it.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye.
And the stream is done.
And time.
Sorry, Pan was a salty bitch. I don't know why he did that.
He really doesn't like the Jak franchise, I guess.
Oh well.